next guest opened his European tour in Dublin on Wednesday. This man is quite simply the biggest star in the world. Will you give him a big welcome to Kenny Live, Mr. Garth Brooks?
He hasn't toured for almost 20 years, yet Garth Brooks remains a top-grossing king of country.
Garth mania shows no sign of abating.
His sellout Dublin debut was a comeback coup for Ireland.
We were all looking forward to a gig in Croke Park to give the city and the country a lift.
As Garth fever grew, efforts were made to facilitate more fans.
Coming to one location and basically having martial law-like conditions for a community is not right, it's not acceptable.
But planning laws made additional concerts difficult.
I will crawl, swim, I will fly over there this weekend. I will drop on my knees and beg.
And cancellation threatened an estimated 50 million in revenue.
It's a major loss to the country.
It's like an episode out of Father Ted, this whole thing.
The thunder rolls.
17 years ago, these concerts were among the biggest the country had ever seen. And this morning, Garth Brooks returned to Croke Park.
If you're going to do a comeback special from that and you could pick any place in the world to play, this is the place.
Garth Brooks flew into town. It was a big press conference. He was going to kick off, after 17 years, he was going to kick off his world tour with 2 gigs. Remember, it was just 2 gigs in Croke Park.
As tens of thousands waited by computers to purchase online, when sales began, the €65 tickets sold so fast, within minutes Croke Park was filled to capacity twice.
And of course the 2 became 3 very quickly, and the 3 became 5. And the story at that time was, this is unprecedented. Like, U2 couldn't have done this in Croke Park. Garth Brooks sold out 400,000 tickets in this many hours. But even then, I knew that there was going to be trouble at Mill.
The GAA has asked Kieran Mulvey of the Labour Relations Commission to broker a deal with Croke Park residents for the Garth Brooks concerts. Residents say the 5 summer concerts are in breach of an agreement with the GAA.
There's no problem with Garth Brooks playing in Ireland or that kind of thing, but coming to one location and basically having martial law-like conditions for a community is not right, it's not acceptable.
A group representing residents near Croke Park are threatening legal action if the Garth Brooks concerts get the go-ahead.
I've been involved in industrial relations for the best part of 40 years. I've never seen a situation quite comparable to this one. I was invited by the GAA to involve myself as a mediator by them. I would say it wasn't by the residents, but the residents didn't have a facility to create a mediation system. They were obviously objecting to the 5 in a row. They had very, very serious and legitimate concerns.
It would disturb the tranquility of the area for 5 nights, or even 3 nights. And it's not on, you can't sleep with the noise. Not only that, but when there's concerts on, they come along this wall here and they urinate. They turn this avenue into a public piss house.
Another resident with concerns about the Garth Brooks concert is William Spence, who has lived in the area for 65 years.
I'll just show you now how close we are to Croke Park here on the back. There's no trust. There's no trust between Croke Park and the residents at this stage. I mean, this is an ongoing thing. You know, until such time as Croke Park can bring us in, tell us what their intentions are, trash out the problems we have, they might get somewhere. But until such a time as that trust is renewed and established, we won't be entertaining them.
Good evening and welcome to the programme. 5 in a row at Croke Park. American country music star Garth Brooks isn't the first to have that particular dream denied. But today's decision by Dublin City Council to only licence 3 of his 5 concerts later this month has caused massive disappointment to his fans.
I know it's horrible on the fans. I'm terribly sorry for all the fans. And I'm ashamed of me life, of the handful of residents around here that have destroyed this.
There probably was a sense that, look, this is going to be too big to fail. Nobody is going to be able to stop this juggernaut once it gets going. But they reckoned without Owen Keegan.
Dublin City Council would be the final arbiters of the concert application. A planning official made the decision in consultation with the city manager.
He sat down, looked at this application and granted what he felt was a kind of a halfway house. He gave 3 concerts, but that of course left 2 concerts without a licence.
When the manager announced the managerial order for 3, then upset began to happen within the Garth Brooks camp and within Aiken promoters. They had said 3 would not work, he needed 5.
The city manager had a very difficult decision to make. There were a number of competing interests at play that had to be balanced. On the one hand, of course, I'm a local councillor. I want to see the city do well. I want to see businesses do well. But there was also an agreement in place. So I think allowing 3 of the 5 concerts to go ahead was a reasonable way to balance those competing interests.
I understand the city manager's position in terms of planning and development law. I mean, I have no argument with the process and procedure he undertaken. I mean, he is a statutory officer of the state with obviously unlimited powers in this area, and he took a decision. Having taken the decision, it pleased nobody.
The uncertainty rumbled on. Meanwhile, Trevor Smith and his Garth Brooks tribute band, Friends in Low Places, were on the road, headed for a gig in Killarney.
First, that decision from Dublin City Council to refuse permission for 2 of the 5 planned Garth Brooks concerts at Croke Park.
So guys, what do you think about this whole Garth Brooks thing? Is he going to go ahead and do it or what?
I don't know. Whatever about this, if he does the 3 of them, he does the 3 of them, that's all right. You have to go ahead with that. But I mean, that matinee thing is just a load.
We should finish off the tour with those 2 nights with the tickets and not refund them.
Yeah. Okay, let's start the tour in Ireland and finish it in Ireland.
Well, it doesn't matter. Whenever he starts the tour, he can slot in 2 gigs at Croke Park at the end of the tour.
Absolutely. It's going to be like that video he made, Ireland and back. It would actually be Ireland and back.
Yeah. Well, like they were all saying he was happy with 1, then he was happy with 2, then he was happy with 3, and then it was 5, and then everyone was happy.
That's demand, Ken.
I mean, look, if we sold out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're down in Killarney tonight, we keep going, wouldn't we? We do a week of it.
He's in better shape than we are.
If he does cancel, how well would we, our tribute band, be received in Dublin City? We might get run out of it.
From near Croke Park in Dublin, local resident William Spence also waited for news.
There's talks going on behind the scenes, and I hope later on to get over to the talks because nobody knows what way it's going to go. If they allow these concerts to go ahead, you can tear up the planning laws. We didn't create this problem. This was created between Aiken and Croke Park at the end of the day.
Uncertainty still surrounds the prospect of any concert by Garth Brooks taking place at Croke Park later this month.
Not far away, another local DJ and businessman, Stephen Mangan, hoped for a different outcome.
How's things? Everything all right? Any news on the concert? Well, they're in discussions at the moment. The meeting is on, so we're just waiting for the call. D-Day, there's a couple of hours left until the decisions are made. We're only a couple of hours away from the broadcast from Garth Brooks' website himself to announce his world tour, and you know, we're hoping with bated breath that it's going to turn out right. We thought everything up to yesterday morning, we thought everything was gone, it was done and dusted until the letter came to Aiken Promotions, and when Peter Aiken then released the letter and just gave everybody new hope, and it brought the place back up again.
Make sure you get
If it's about greed and about money, it's certainly not from the people, the real residents around this area, because all they want is, you know, the area to be shone in a good light for a change. I'm hopeful that the 5 concerts will go ahead, probably with a break after the first 3. But we're in bated breath. We're just hoping for the 5, and we want 5 in a row. But we'll take anything at this stage, you know.
Taoiseach, there's an air of disbelief about the country and indeed the city that a major economic project by its own rights has not got to go ahead.
It's a major loss to the country, to the goodwill and the good feeling of all those fans of Garth Brooks that this is lost, not to mention the hard economic loss to so many people here.
It was raised in the Dáil. A lot of people raised an eyebrow about it being raised in the Dáil, but it was raised in the Dáil by Fianna Fáil, by Micheál Martin. And initially, the Taoiseach seemed to dismiss getting involved in it. He seemed to say that it would be inappropriate, that they would be accused of doing down the residents in that area, and that it was a planning matter and therefore not a matter for government. Within hours of the Taoiseach saying that in the Dáil, it was suddenly a matter for government.
And the Kenny got involved on Tuesday night, and I got a call from Kieran Mulvey. He asked me to stand by on Tuesday night for talks with the manager himself and myself. We stood down at 11 o'clock because no word came back from the manager. He said he was entering discussions with the Aiken representatives across in America and that he expected a positive outcome and he would keep in touch.
And then Garth Brooks himself went global, giving his view about the standoff.
I introduce you to the newest member of the Sony music family, the amazing Garth Brooks.
Everything was rocking. Up to 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, it was nothing but love. And then came the thing where, hey Garth, we're okay in 3 of them, you're gonna have to figure out what to do with the other 2. Don't sell a show to people and get their hopes up that you're gonna just cancel on them. And that's okay. It's not okay for me. I don't agree with that's the way to treat people. And if the Prime Minister himself wants to talk to me, I will crawl, swim, I will fly over there this weekend. Sit in front of him, I will drop on my knees and beg for those 400,000 people to just have fun and let them come sing. Those 5 shows were sold. Let those 5 shows be played. Then fix the law, whatever you have to do after that. It's a simple yes, is all it is.
I think there's still hope. Basically what he's doing, he's kind of putting it off for another couple of days. All hope is not lost, you know what I mean? And, you know, people around here don't want to lose hope.
Well, I think it was unhelpful for him to say that it was 5 or none. I mean, I don't think that planning authorities can or should respond to ultimatums being given in that way. So I think ultimately it didn't help the situation, and he's now facing the possibility of no concerts at all going ahead because of the position he's put himself in.
We heard that there was more talks, that people were being asked to knock their heads together. Then it reached farcical levels. The White House spokeswoman was forced to comment publicly that they were not indeed going to intervene in this matter.
I was here with a Mexican minister on a courtesy call and the Mexican ambassador, and they had heard about it coming in here and there'd be news bulletins and that, and he said to me, the Mexican ambassador, Carlos, if there's any way I can help in relation to negotiations or facilitating our diplomatic approach, let me know, I'd be only too glad to do it.
And the Mexican ambassador, well, I don't know what relationship he has with Garth Brooks or with the country, is the ambassador to the country. Unless he had some extraordinary access to Garth Brooks and was a country and western singer himself, I don't think he could have brought much to the table.
In Killarney, Trevor Smith and his band were getting ready for their Garth tribute show.
Those hearts that have no scars to show. The ones that never.
We've got a tribute act. As I tell everybody before I go on the stage, I tell everybody I know I'm not Garth Brooks and I'm not crazy. My name is Trevor Smith. So I like to make sure that they all know that.
Who have to dance within the flame. Through chance of sorrow and the shame that always comes with getting burned.
Trevor Smith, we love Trevor. The first night I came to see Trevor here, I just came on a whim. It was my first fix of Garth Brooks since the 90s, and I loved it, and I've been coming here since.
Those who can face this world alone.
There's something about country music, isn't there? Just something brilliant about country music.
I think Ireland and country music is very much like the Irish music, and it's ingrained in our roots, of course. When we hear Garth singing, we can hear the Irishness, the fiddle and everything in the music. So, of course, it beats home with us.
He appealed to me back in the early 90s, and I seen this guy on stage playing country music and smashing guitars and running around and getting the crowd involved, and I went, now that's country music and the way I like it, play it. But I don't know whether there's a stigma attached when you're young, you're afraid to say you like country music. So then when this dude, Garth Brooks, came along singing this kind of stuff and being so lively about it, it wasn't so bad to say you enjoyed it,
Standing outside the bar, standing outside the bar. Life is not tried, it is barely survived if you're standing outside the bar.
I think Irish people love all kinds of music. The fact that the country music thing has appealed to them for so long. We love to dance. Irish people love to dance, and what better to dance to than country music?
I think Irish people, it's in our psyche. We love the sad song.
Let's pretend that we're together.
Famously on the live mic, Rooski man Albert Reynolds took to our screens to deliver, in a Stetson hat and check shirt, a very convincing version of the Jim Reeves classic Put Your Sweet Lips a Little Closer to the Phone.
Love is blind, make up your mind, I've got to know.
But it did him no harm at all. He was the Minister for Post and Telegraphs at the time. He went on to become Finance Minister in Taoiseach.
Have to go.
So country music is really, I suppose, the modern version of the Shan Nose song. And I think there is something in that somebody like Garth Brooks, he's not cool country, he's not Johnny Cash. If Seamus Heaney is cool literary Ireland, he's Maeve Binchy. He is the masses.
Somebody's gonna hit someone before the night is through. Somebody's gonna come down.
At a music festival in Antrim, rising country star Nathan Carter was warming up for a gig. Nathan was looking forward to the concert for personal reasons. He was set to support Garth Brooks.
I think Irish people love country music so much because it was born here and moved to the States. Country music was started in Ireland in the traditional fiddle playing and the accordion playing and the whistle playing, and it travelled obviously across the seas to America and was changed into country music, and it brightens up anyone's night whenever you hear live music, especially either trad or country music. Well, I got a call from Peter Egan to ask me would I like to support Garth Brooks for his last 2 nights at Croke Park, which is a phone call I will never ever forget, and I was just gobsmacked to think that an act that big in country music, I didn't think that he would consider bringing myself to support him anyway, but it was a dream come true to get the phone call. It's kind of been embarrassing really, at this stage, and it was kind of annoying for me because not just because I'm not playing on it, or if the gigs don't go ahead I'm not playing, but it was kind of annoying for me because my family had bought flight tickets to come over from Liverpool for the Friday and Saturday. They booked hotels. Just very disappointing really. They're obviously very disappointed that they can't get over and see the gigs.
And then on July 14th, the dream for some of any concerts finally came to an end.
Garth Brooks came to Croke Park in person to announce his comeback gigs. Tickets were an immediate sellout and soon 5 concerts had been announced. Dublin City Council then announced permission for just 3, and this afternoon Brooks said he wouldn't play any.
It just seemed to rumble on into this extraordinary mess until finally rolled back to where it had started, and it came down to the fact that Garth Brooks was 5 in a row or nothing, and we ended up with nothing.
I am crushed is an understatement. All I see is my mother's face and I hear her voice. She always said things happen for a reason and for the right reason. As hard as I try, I cannot see the light on this one. So it is with a broken heart I announce the ticket refunds for the event will go as posted by Ticketmaster. So says Garth Brooks.
I believe we made the right decision. I believe it was entirely appropriate to seek to balance all the competing interests. Obviously, some people think that we should ignore the legitimate concerns of residents at this stage and that commercial interests should win out. I don't agree with that, because we believe in the integrity of this process and we believe we've made a fair and balanced decision, taking account of all the interests, including the interests of residents, which we believe we're required to do under the event licensing process.
The person, I feel the most sorry for is Garth Brooks, really. The effort he put into this and what he was going to do, and people will never see a show like this again. I don't care what happens in going forward and technology and all, they'll never see the show that he was going to put on. He was putting everything into this. This was his comeback special. If he was motivated by money, he would have done the 3 shows and recouped something. But he's right what he did, because I told him it was 5 shows and then he couldn't leave 160,000 people not seeing the show.
The bigger issues raised by this affair need very seriously to be addressed. Listeners to these remarks will gather that Croke Park feels let down by this whole process. But more than that, the country has been let down. I don't think it is unreasonable to claim that the people of Ireland and those abroad who have followed this affair find the decision to refuse a licence for 5 concerts incomprehensible.
Looking back on the memory of the dance we shared beneath the stars above.
What this debacle exposed was that we have planning legislation which allows for no appeal, so that when the city manager made that decision, there was no going back from it, there was no talking around it, there was no give, there was no appeals process. And that certainly is something we're told is now going to be looked into in the future.
Well, I think the planning law adopted in 2000 was there to rectify the appalling situation that had developed in our country in regard to the rezoning of sites for quick profit and quick gain and turnover profit. So that had to be brought to an end, where planning officials were being overturned in exercising their professional judgments. But I don't think this was ever intended to stop what we would understand to be a concert, or as it says in the Act, events, fun fairs or concerts.
I believe it's time for a new direction. I believe it's time for one particular umbrella of a body to come together in the interest of the whole community, and let's move forward in a positive way, that we don't ever have to enter such a mess ever again.
Well, I think that pressure should be put on the government to legislate to ensure that tickets can't ever be sold subject to licence again. That's effectively why we're in the position that we're in now.
It's better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the day.
For now, tribute singer Trevor Smith and band might be the closest some Irish fans will ever get to Garth Brooks.
I suppose the narrative was a bit like a country song, wasn't it? Highs, lows, roller coaster of emotions, and ultimately a very sad ending. But I think it will be remembered as the story of 2014, the moving statue story of this summer.
This is our Irish Garth Brooks, and he doesn't need no plan, and he just turns up and we come to see him. Simple as that.
And if my time on earth were through, she must face this world without me? Is the love I gave her in the past gonna be enough to last if tomorrow never comes?